Well, welcome everybody. We are continuing this series, Jesus and Mental Health, and today we're taking a closer look, a deeper dive at postpartum depression. And I have the opportunity to sit down here with Alaina. And Alaina, I wonder if you wouldn't mind sharing with us a little bit of your background and some of your history and why you're so passionate.
Yeah, so I am a birth doula, so I support families from conception all the way through that first year of postpartum with tangible resources, hands-on support, and really just wrapping them in love so that they know that they're supported through this year. I got started actually when I was 16. I attended my first birth. It was a friend of mine in high school. And before that, I loved babies. I was always the baby hog at every family event and super, I did all the babysitting and all of that. But that was really the big shift for me when I realized that my heart was for moms, and that's really where I wanted to be. And so all of my education and everything there on out was just chasing down ways to support moms in my community.
And the support of moms specifically has, for you, arisen to what happens not just from conception to birth, but soon after.
Yes, that immediate postpartum,
talk to us a little bit about that. What are some things that you've noticed? Why has postpartum depression come onto your radar? Some resources?
Yeah, so there's a huge physiologic change that happens after you have a baby. During pregnancy, obviously, you're growing a child, you have your placenta and all these hormones, and this all has a huge impact on our mind. And then when we go into that postpartum period, we actually lose the organ that's been creating all of those hormones during pregnancy. And this causes just a huge change in our emotions and how we feel, how our body feels, and how our body even tolerates certain things. And so just giving moms resources to, one, notice these things, because rather than just feeling like you're underwater and you're drowning under all these sensations, being able to put a name to what's happening is really powerful, because you need to name it to tame it.
Name it to tame it.
Yes, name it to tame it, So if you are able to recognize what's happening, even if it isn't depression or it's just the normal postpartum blues, just that hormonal fallout, being able to put a name to it, it kind of tames the beast. It's one thing to have this unnamed beast looming over you, but if you name it, like Fred or something, you can actually just give it a name and call it what it is, and it really takes a lot of the power away from it.
There's an isolation element when you don't have a name for it, because you might think, I'm the only one who, right? This is unique to me, and so I'm all alone. And what I'm hearing you say is, oh no.
This is
many people.
I mean, pretty much anyone who has ever had a baby come out of their body goes through that hormonal fallout. And it even happens, I think a lot of times we think this happens with full-term pregnancies. The postpartum blues and postpartum depression can happen even with miscarriage and early loss. Anytime you've conceived a baby and that baby has come out of your body, no matter when, you go through this hormonal fallout. So when we say postpartum depression and postpartum issues and mood disorders, we're not just talking about the moms that bring home a full-term healthy baby. We're talking about moms that have lost their babies at any point during the pregnancy.
Let's talk a little bit about some warning signs, because there's a lot of changes, and what I hear you say is hormonal changes and your body just undergoing such a dramatic shift. And so there's a lot going on already. But what are some of those signs that you would say, hey, if this is going on, it might be time to reach out and to look for some help beyond you?
So really, if it's interfering with your daily life, if you're able to just kind of pat your tears and get on with your day, and especially within those first 2 weeks, that's good, and it sounds like you're coping well. But if you're unable to eat, you're unable to shower because you can't leave your baby alone, if you're afraid to walk down the stairs, a lot of moms, it's a really common intrusive thought to be like, oh my gosh, what happens if I fall down the stairs while I'm carrying my baby? That's an intrusive thought, but it gets to the point where you don't want to walk on the stairs with your baby. That is now interfering with your life, and you need to seek some help to kind of work through that and get to a place where you can function.
Now, I'm thinking a lot of times new moms are alone during the day with their baby. And so it could be difficult to identify those. It's most difficult to identify things in ourselves. Right? It's always easier to see it in somebody else. Let's talk about partners. Where do they come in? How can partners serve those who've recently had a baby?
So I love giving partners the tools to support their wives. It's huge. Like, I love my clients and I love these moms I work with, but my love ends at a certain point, and that's where I really love to kind of plug the partners in. You guys have created this life together. I know you guys have a connection, and you guys are able to work together as a team, and you know each other's ins and outs. And
sure, those routines.
Yeah,
when there's something
you know
intruding.
what's normal and you know what's not. And so being able to, I always recommend having a conversation before the baby's born and talking about, hey, what do you want me to do if we start seeing these things?
Okay.
Because it's one thing if I've just given birth and I'm stomping around because I'm angry and I'm frustrated and I have a lot of anxiety or I'm depressed, and my husband kind of comes in and is like, babe, you need to calm down. Like, that's not received well.
Not as helpful
and
as
he might be saying it in love, or if he just goes like, babe, are you depressed? Like, he might be sending it in love, but I'm not going to receive it in love. But if we have this conversation beforehand, like, okay, we know because of a history of anxiety, or we know because you're having a baby that you have a risk of these postpartum mood disorders. What do these steps look like for me? And literally write out a plan, write out the doctor's numbers, a good therapist number. In West Michigan, we have the Pine Rest Mother Baby Program.
Yes.
There's also the Postpartum Support International phone number that you can call, and that one's any time of the day. So if it's 3 a.m. and your baby's screaming and you're about to lose your mind, just call the number and they can help talk you through that. So you're not alone. We all have these cell phones. You can text that number as well. So if you just need to text a buddy, they're there for that. So making sure that you have those things in place, your husband knows where those numbers are, your husband knows where your therapist number are, and that you guys almost have this conversation built out beforehand, so that way when you are exhibiting symptoms, he can pull this plan in front of you and say, hey, we talked about this and I'm noticing some of these things. Let's work through this together and get you what you need.
Absolutely. Alaina, you're obviously very passionate about, and you want to provide hope and care for people who are struggling. You've recently are part of a group here at Encounter.
Yeah, we just started a postpartum support group, and I'm so excited because we were talking about this earlier. It's not about reaching far and wide. It's about getting deeper and getting that support you need with that really close-knit community. So we'd love if anyone could come join us for that. We have some really fun prompts that we talk about just to kind of get our brains thinking. And it's also a really great opportunity to crowdsource. Some of the other conversations we had were like, hey, my kid did this and I feel terrible. What am I doing wrong? And everyone else was like, same girl, same. And it was just this
you're not
community.
Alone.
Yeah.
You're not alone.
Knowing you're not alone and being able to just almost laugh at the things that we're really super stressed about, and building this community and and we have professionals there as well. I'm running the group, and I think we're going to have a labor nurse at some point. So we have professionals there. It's not just a group of the blind leading the blind. We're there for you.
Encounterchurch.org/events. You can sign up. I think, is it postpartum?
It's postpartum support, yes.
Gotcha.
And then we also have a pregnancy support group starting as well. So we want you covered from the very beginning all the way through. A lot of churches, they start loving on you once that baby's in nursery. And before that, they don't really know. Until you've really plugged yourself in, you don't have that community built. But we want that community for you from the very, very beginning.
That's good. So you don't have to start building it when baby comes.
It's done beforehand.
There.
It's estimated actually that up to 90% of postpartum mood disorders start during pregnancy.
Okay.
And so if you can plug in during pregnancy and build these plans during pregnancy, you're really setting yourself up for a better, more successful postpartum experience.
Oh, fantastic. Build out the community. It's never too soon to start.
Yes, absolutely.
Resources available. You've named a few. We'll make sure to get those links down below. Join a group.
Yeah, join a group as soon as possible. There's a bunch of fun mommy groups in the area. There's even ones for moms that hike, and moms that love to do crafts, and moms that have all these different hobbies. So you can just go on Facebook. There's a bunch of them out there, and most of them are free.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the information, for the resources available. I'm imagining somebody watching this video right now, and it might be that prompting that they're getting that says, I think it's something more than a bad day or a string of bad days. I think this might be me, and I think I might need help. I wonder what is your hope for that person watching right now?
So first of all, I want to make sure that we're talking about taking down the wall of shame. There's a lot of shame that tends to come with any sort of mood issues or mental health issues. And especially growing up in the church, I think a lot of times we've associated our mood issues as like, oh, I just need to pray more, or I need to be a better Christian. And truly, God tells us to take care of our temple, and our brain and our neurochemicals and transmitters are not excluded from that. So if you're having health issues there, seek out help, seek out community first and foremost. We know that when two or more gather together, he is there. And if you're not feeling him and the feelings we have associated with his presence, like love, joy, peace, patience, all those things that we have associated with his presence, it might just be that your brain can't form those chemicals right now. And it doesn't mean that you're not being a good Christian or a good mom. It just means that you need a little help. And he gave us this community just for that. So seek out your community, find a good group, join ours if you want to. And then obviously find a professional. There's some really great ones in our area. In Michigan, we have the Mother Baby program at Pine Rest, where you can take your baby with you and just spend the day there with them. There's the Postpartum Support International hotline that you can call, and you can also text them. And this is also a resource for dads too. It's estimated that up to 10% of dads experience postpartum depression after their babies are born. So dads, don't forget that you matter too, and you cannot pour from an empty cup. So make sure you're taking care of yourself in order to take care of your family and lead them spiritually, and that you as a family are all plugged in and have the resources there for you.
Thank you so much for taking the time and sharing this massive area of passion with the rest of us.
Thank you so much for having me.